All right, we're gonna get started here in just a second. For those with a communications device, you got a cell phone, you could check the ringer on that, please. You can check it to silent, vibrate or something. Sure would be nice. We're gonna call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge and a moment of prayer, and then we'll get right into tonight's business. So if you would stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we come before you tonight. We ask for guidance. We ask for wisdom as we conduct our county's business. Lord, I pray especially for some of the members of our community in our county. A lot of illness. We've had a number of deaths. Lord, I know you know about every one of them. Your grace is sufficient for every one of them. I pray, Lord, that you will continue to bestow your blessings and your mercy on our country, our state, our county. And as we go forward tonight, Lord, we pray that our efforts will be pleasing. Give us safe traveling mercies as we leave here. Well, thank you for it all. In your name we ask. Amen. All right. The first order of business is the approval of minutes from both the regular scheduled meeting on the 8th and then a special call meeting. Since the attendance was different, we'll do these individually. So, I get approval on the January 8th minutes. We'll take them first. Motion to approve, Jim. Second. I have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions or comments on this? Commissioner Allen?
Yes. Yes.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Yes. Okay. And now for the special call meeting on January 10th. Motion to approve, Chair. I have a motion to approve. Second that one. I have another second. Any discussion or comments on this? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Strickland?
Abstain.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes. Yes. Folks, all these things and large measure, we've had some sickness amongst us as well, so I apologize for my absence, but
you had two of those.
I did. Thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better too. So, with that, business involving guests, groups, or multiple visitors, don't really have anything scheduled for that. Chairman's report. What I'd like to do is, we have one change on the agenda, and I gotta apologize if I'll state this before we have statements and remarks from citizens on any agenda item. If you're here for item number 10 on our agenda, which is to consider abandonment of County Road 336, portions of MS Lane, and Vineyard Creek Church Road. Anybody here for that tonight? You're here to speak on it? Folks, listen, I'll apologize. There's been in our record search and our investigation of that process and everything, we had something that became available to us today by way of information. Whether you're here to speak for or against it, I think it's information. If we can work through it, we'll make it a pleasing or satisfying decision to both sides, okay? So still probably will grant access, but I can't say for sure right now. We're going to investigate that, but I wanted to give everybody a heads up that I'd like to, unless there's any reason from the commissioners that we can't, we'll postpone this, and it will most likely be, we have three other total roads? Three total. Okay, three total that we'll be taking at the same time when we meet. It'll probably be the last meeting, most likely the last meeting in February. I believe that's the 26th. So I do apologize if you travel for that, but like I said, I think if we're able to do it, I believe we can. I think it'll be a
I'm
good
still
solution.
gonna be able to speak on it, right?
But and that is your choice. So here in a minute, we're gonna have statements, remarks, and everything, so, and you can speak on any item, but you also have that opportunity at the next meeting too, so you're not gonna be deprived of that. So I just want, so, give me just a second here, that's the only item I had on the chairman's report though, so,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
give us a report on where we're at on,
We didn't want to know right now, anyway.
on our grant writing.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Blank day call.
Again, coupled with my absence for a little bit there, it did get delayed. I have had discussions this week, or last week, with respect to, an increased emphasis in need. So, we have a description, we have a job description, we have the, material we're looking for and, perhaps the skill set and those types of things. As of this minute, that hadn't gone out. But it is a good point. I think we might end this week and have that out, but we should be able to do that.
Well, I've been waiting for that. You saw I was getting real big.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Uh,
We need to do that as soon as we can, because
Yeah.
it's gonna be a plus.
It is, and we've got a number of things that, I'm absolutely convinced that will help us before the end of the year too, so. All right, next item is a report from, the Industrial Development Building Authority, and I have a snobby, each one of you have this as well. Did you make it, or did you just make a copy? Okay. This is, from the meeting on, a Monday night, a week ago. This was an update from the, IDA or IDZA. The items that, they brought for the week was really the groundbreaking for the, $3 million building in Madison in, Culver, and, the expansion of their, Culver headquarters. And, the, IDA gave an update on the Georgia renewable power plant, and this has become kind of an item for daily discussion here now. I'll entertain Friday a site visit to the plant Culver, as well as perhaps attend one in Franklin County. We're at that point now where we're putting pen to paper and signing things, so we're trying to be very meticulous in how we set everything up in that, so. Community solar project, at, Holston Stand, Fairley Junction, you're focused on that, is, nearing completion. It's a 2 megawatt facility, and, they had groundbreaking and a ceremony a month or so ago, but the actual completion and the full operation is almost upon us, so, Carlton's, Dollar General, we're open for it. I think it had been mentioned that it was open already, but, Monday night they said that it would, that it was nearing the opening. And let's see, and new Dollar General going up on, the corner there at 72 and Culver School Food. And lastly, there now is, conversation about one in Iowa. Many of you who live there or drive through there know there's one situated near the intersection already, but their plan is to relocate across the road. They had the new subway grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony. There was barbecue currently remodeling, adding to their facility. Those of you in the Dodgeboro area, you're familiar with that. And on 98th, up near our library and senior center across the way to Sandstown is continuing to spread out a little bit. Their one request is that they're trying to change the speed limit in that area. It's a tough area. If you're trying to turn it to the library or the senior center, that's not a great spot to be doing that. So we'll work with that. That's a state highway. County doesn't control that, so the best we can do is offer some suggestions. All right. Now, we're going to take statements and remarks from citizens about any of let me preface this first by saying, for, several of these items, and they were the rezone items that were postponed in our last meeting, you can still speak. There's an opportunity to speak about those. What I would encourage, and the only rule that's different here is that this is a compressed time thing. So we've met the requirement for a public hearing on those rezones. So what I would encourage you to do is we'll take, or any that want to speak, and we'll, whoever stands up for whatever the location of the rezone is, I'll ask that anybody that wants to speak on that rezone, that particular one, speak, after that. That way we kind of keep them all together. It's a little less confusing, a little less tangled. And then, again, just remember, since the public hearing has been held, I'd ask that, I think it's human nature to want to make your own point, but if the point's already been made, if we could kind of keep from some of the repetitive, comments or whatever that helps speak on. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm all about hurting it if we seem to be kind of stalling out on one of the points, okay? So at this point, there are items 6 through 12, actually. 6 through 12, that we'll entertain comments. Anybody that has anything that they would like to speak on those items. Please.
I just wanted to speak on the abandonment, the one that you said was put off,
Your name and...
Brett Smith.
Okay.
You talking about M&S or?
That's
which
right,
one you talking
County
about?
Road 336, and that's right.
Okay.
All right, that road dead into my property at this time. I personally got the easements and everything to have the Board of Commissioners vote on that, and it was voted that it is a county, not to retake it up, that it is an existing county road, and it has been maintained and worked, and that is my understanding as to that it is a road and whatever.
Can you just identify which portion of the road? I mean, 336 comes in from English Creek.
It comes in from Dallas Lake, and it comes in from,
Okay, so we're calling it, it's M&S Lane, also 336 is the one that goes east-west there. You cross the creek.
it does, yeah.
Okay, and there's a portion that comes off that goes south. I just wanted to be clear when you say you got...
That's a different road.
Yeah.
That's an older county road that, as far as if you're talking about cuts off to the left,
Right.
that was abandoned.
Right.
That also goes down to where a bridge is washed out.
Right. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to...
Now, I believe that was 38 maybe,
Hmm.
at one point in time. I'm not sure on that. But I'm talking about 336 as it stands still in the maps going all the way through.
Right.
From
It goes to the creek where the bridge is out. But
Right now it does, but
Right.
I have personally got the right of way and easement all the way up to Vineyards Creek. And it was voted on by this board that it is a county road and will be maintained, and that's in the record.
Hmm.
And
Right, well, and
any other, the information that you were talking about that you had,
Right.
if it's something else, if it's anything else, I would like to maybe have that information.
Absolutely, no, and all of this would be made available. And again, that's the whole reason for the process. We're not arguing that it's county maintained road presently. That is the purpose for wanting to abandon that, so, but you're right. We will have an opportunity to kind of discuss all about the sections and what options are available for people to have access to their property to hopefully meet again.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, will there be another notice from the county attorney, or is it just gonna be listed on the?
It'll certainly be in the paper and online, on our website, county website. And again, the target for that, and I don't know if there's any reason it can't be, but the target would be at the end of next month. We meet a week from tonight, and then the next meeting will be the 26th, and that's when I would like to target that if it's possible.
Would it be voted on then, or
Absolutely.
it's gonna be voted on that night?
Right, yeah.
So I need to be prepared for that?
if you'd like to be here and speak on it or whatever, your comments tonight are noted and everything, yeah, but, you're more than welcome to come back and speak, you know, as a,
Because whether that's easement or a county road determines what I can do with my property because of this county, you know.
Yeah, well, access to it, as long as you
Not
have
access, whether it's a county road or not, determines how I can divide my property. And this started with me trying to give my brother 5 acres, and because of the zoning, I could give him 5 acres, but then I couldn't build me a house to live there too, because of the part of the county that it's in.
All right, well, again, I would encourage you, if at all possible, please come back and talk to us on that when we have that, the hearing on that.
Can I ask you a question before you sit down?
Sure.
Does Mr. Mahaffey still own some property on M&S? Or his son, lives in Alabama?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If I can ask a question. I was just curious, which end do you access your property from?
From Dallas Lake.
From Dallas Lake, okay.
Okay, he owned property on the other end. I understand he sold it to his son or gave it to his son or something.
Let's see. Okay. All right. I appreciate that, Brett.
Thanks, thanks.
Is there anybody else?
We're still on 6 through 12.
Yes, any item.
My name is Rhonda Aylerline. I own Happy Kids Learning Center on Highway 29. And everything that I said before was concerning safety. One thing I know that was addressed is, while it can't be an issue of increased traffic, but safety is what I'm here about today. One thing I did not mention, when parents are pulling out of the center, I mean, you have to go, like, quick. If this subdivision is put in place, and more than likely there's going to be a school bus that's going to need to go in there, when that school bus pulls out, pulling in's not that big of a deal, pulling out is going to be. So that's going to impact 60 to 70 children on that school bus. The sight distance either way is bad. I mean, everybody here has traveled that road and know how bad it is. We do need development, but my point is, until the Department of Transportation makes effort to make this area safe, it's just going to be a death sentence for someone.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you now. Anybody else like an opportunity to speak? Please, sir, come on.
My name's Wayne Aylerline. We live on, our business and our home is on 149 Joe Graham. I believe we're in Miss Teresa's district. There's been a lot said about the traffic and the accidents that's been there, and I hope this board has given a lot of attention, because there's been some terrible wrecks there. But my question is tonight, my statement is tonight, it was brought up that the cemetery, the Smith Cemetery back there, was not on the property that the meeting is about. It's definitely not on it. But at the time the second subdivision went in, I think what it done is it cut across the road that had access to the cemetery. Originally, the last Smith family person that was buried there, the county opened up a road and it crossed the property that's now being offered up, and there's two brother families that had the property. it crossed it, and it went, but after it got back to the other subdivision, my question is there any access at all to that subdivision, to that cemetery? If not, this county could be liable to have another famous lawsuit. The county might be required to buy somebody's home place, and if it would have gone to that problem, I think it would automatically start off at Highway 29, because that's where the original road was. And that's my question for tonight. But again, I hope y'all have given it a lot of thought about all the accidents. My daughter's daycare, she's had 2 different wrecks there trying to get into her own property, and we have personally seen some bad things happen. Thank you.
All right, sir. Just looking at the map area for that, I want to make sure I know where the cemetery is.
On the back side of Watson's Manor.
Oh,
If you look
okay.
at your tax map, you'll see it.
Yep, okay. Okay. All
Hello,
right.
Nick. Orlando Adler, 217 Watson Drive. I live at Watson Manor, and the cemetery that they're talking about, there is no access road to it. Apparently, from the last developer, the property that I was in, I bought through a foreclose. The subdivision foreclosed back in 2012. Well, anyways, there's a lot of houses that were built there that weren't supposed to be built. But I was told otherwise, and three developers went in there and developed houses in what we call retaining ponds. I have called several of y'all. I met up with our county commissioner, showed her. She couldn't believe that they built a house where the zoning, the lady standing here beside me, issued saying that it wasn't a retaining pond. Otherwise, I offer y'all to go and look and see for yourself, like one of our councils have. And she was utterly amazed that they allowed that building to be developed there in a retaining pond. There is a teacher that lives there, bought the house, and the builder tried to hide the property, hide the retaining pond by letting the pine trees grow. Oh, it's quite a sight. There was a tax auditor or somebody looking at the property Tuesday, I think, Monday or Tuesday. They were measuring and stuff like that, wondering to see if it was really a retaining pond. Well, I'll tell you what, if it's not a retaining pond, then I don't know what you could call it, because it's got a pedestal about yay high. The guy cleared it, he's got the EPA looking at it, and you're probably, I mean, I don't know what he wants to move out. He's disgusted about it, because the EPA denied him to fill the back of his property, because the property goes like this into a retaining pond. I call it a retaining pond. I know what a retaining pond is.
Is that the place across the street you're
Where
talking about?
I took you to? Yes. Where it has that big old pedestal, and then it's got a bridge, like a road bridge with a big old 20-inch pipe going through it. And as far as the safety, I know I don't have a lot of time, but as far as the safety, I agree with the lady that came up here about the school buses and all that. You know, there's not, like back when we went to school, there's not one bus stop, guys. The school bus stops at every house, creating backup traffic from her location. You should see it. It's a mess, okay? Some of y'all live at Spratlin, what is it, Spratlin Mills or whatever? Yeah, and y'all seen the traffic, you know. They had, I think 2 years ago, there was a pedestrian killed on that road, on 29, if you don't remember. Right there around the curve, where they did that big old major subdivision that's there now. There was a pedestrian struck and killed there. This subdivision coming up right now, it's in a bad location. I mean, bad. I agree about development and all that, but guys, this is a bad location for a subdivision. Really. I mean, y'all more than welcome to go look at it. I mean, you got a junkyard beside and an auto shop next door in the same place where these people were trying to build. And from the depth of that subdivision, I tell you what, that land is not that deep for him to put whatever houses he wants to put in there, 11 or 16, whatever. I've walked that property. I know how deep that property is. That property is like straight down going into a creek. And another thing, what's gonna happen to that creek when they build, if y'all do decide to give them permission to build? That creek leads to a big old lake that's back there, I think a 40-acre lake. Now, I know about the lake I'm talking about. All that water runoff, what's gonna happen? It's gonna overflow the creek. The houses that are on the side of the creek right there, there's one right there in Watson's Mill, it's really close to that creek. Okay, what's gonna happen to all this water runoff? You know, and again, traffic. I mean, we got so many people right now, their driveways are like straight down like that, they have to park on the road, and the school buses can't get by. I mean, I welcome y'all to come look at our subdivision, and just to go by there around 6 o'clock when UGA lets off, and everybody else lets off. Remember, they're building all these stores and franchise really close by. That brings more congestion to the area. A lot more people out in traffic, all people going out and about. So I oppose this. I oppose this built development. I do. I don't care what attorney or Miss Linda, whatever, say about this property. It's a bad idea for everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak?
Chairman, if that's the last comments on the Highway 29 rezone, I'd like to respond to what was said.
Okay, so these are all the comments on 29, so, on Highway 29?
Yes. Mine on 12.
Okay, all right.
So the site plan shows 12 proposed lots. There's 11 suggested in the initial application for rezoning. I don't know how else to say this, but Watson Manor has nothing to do with this rezone. The cemetery's on the other side of the road that goes through Watson Manor, and it's just irrelevant to this rezone. The poor development, alleged poor development, at Watson Manor has nothing to do with this rezone. This rezone is whether this piece of property is suitable for residential lots. DOT will determine if a turn lane is needed or not. My understanding is that DOT requires a 300-foot line of sight. Miss Adelwine's daycare is right in the middle of the curve, which is unfortunate. I understand that school buses stop on Highway 29 right now. This would have the school buses going off of Highway 29 and pulling out, which is much safer than stop in the middle of a state highway. Measuring on the aerial tax map in Madison County, it is about 440 feet from the daycare and the curve down to the property where the access road is indicated. There is almost a 1,400-foot straight stretch to the south heading north from Athens. So there should be adequate room for cars to get in and out of the subdivision once it's built. Issues about grading, road right-of-way, erosion and sedimentation control, that's all done during the construction phase and the subdivision approval phase. It's not a rezoning issue. And it will be addressed at that time. Also, as pointed out in the attachment to rezoning that we filed January 8th, generalized fears about negative impact of traffic or increased traffic, that's not a sufficient reason to deny rezoning. They're two separate things. The traffic issue is a DOT issue on a state highway. The rezoning is a subdivision, use of property, and county issue, rezoning issue. I'm sorry that the neighbors had trouble with the other subdivision, and the road is dangerous in the curves. But there is a straightaway section where this subdivision is planned. There's adequate room north and south shown on the site plan for the road into the subdivision to come in. So we would ask that when you get to the vote in your county session that you approve the reason. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
I understand correctly that,
So this is 20, Highway 29. I think she's,
Okay, is this for Highway the same? Is it-
no, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Do I understand correctly, you speak on any of the agenda numbers?
Yes, any of these items, yes, ma'am. What would you
I
like
want
to
to speak about the proposed subdivision on Needs Commerce Road and
Okay. What was your name again?
Nancy Smith,
Nancy.
367 Ben Crawford Road. Is this the right time for me to speak?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I have my comments written, it'll go faster that way. We live on Ben Crawford Road, and it's on the north side of the property that's being considered for rezoning.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, this is the same thing she read January 8th.
Okay, so is there, can I ask you, ma'am, how long is your piece that you're gonna read?
5 minutes.
It wouldn't be longer than that. It wouldn't longer than
What?
It wasn't even that long.
Okay, if you just go through it real quick, and I'm asking though that for anybody, that if you spoke, if there was information that you did give, though, I'd ask that, if there's new information, or if you want to just keep it brief or whatever, but go ahead
I'll
and
keep
look
it
at
brief, but a lot of people didn't hear it because they weren't here.
Okay,
Is that all right?
please go ahead.
Okay. We live on the north side of the property that's being considered for zoning, and there are 3 houses that back up to that property. In 1972, my husband and I bought the 5-acre plot that we built our house on. We were the first one there at the time that built a house. And before that, we had lived in Cobb County, and we had lived in subdivisions ever since we met. When we moved to this area, we wanted to escape the subdivision lifestyle and live in a rural setting, a country setting. And we have loved living in Madison County. I especially love the beautiful scenery, the rolling hills and the green fields, the crops, and we have a beautiful pasture across the road from us with lots of cows and calves. At the end of our road on the west side, there's a soybean field that's planted with winter wheat in the fall, and that's beautiful too. There are many households in Madison County that sell large lots, which contribute to the county being able to maintain its image as a successful agricultural community. The problem I have with the building of the subdivision on the land that joins ours is the number of houses. The property is now zoned A2 with restrictions of 5-acre lots. This is typical of the Nice community in which we live. The majority of the homes in the Nice have some type of acreage. I think it would be good to keep the A2 zoning in place and put these planned homes on 5-acre lots in keeping with the homes of surrounding. Maybe the builder could just build larger houses. When you approve changes like this one, you're allowing developers and the real estate agents to decide how our county should be instead of the citizens who live here. Another difficulty would be the entrance to the subdivision from Nice Commerce Road. The intersection of Nice Commerce Road and 106 is very dangerous now due to a blind spot to the north. Our grandson had an accident there because of poor visibility and fast approaching traffic on 106. There's a lot of congestion in the early morning hours and the afternoon hours until after 6 due to people going and coming from work. If you add 39 homes, that will be more cars added to the mix. A few years ago, our then commissioners turned down a zoning request for an event center that's very near where the subdivision would be, mainly because of the increase in traffic that it would cause. The event center would mostly have been in operation on the weekends. The increased traffic from a subdivision would be daily. One more thing. After we lived in our house on our 5-acre lot for about 10 years, the property adjoining ours on the west side became available for sale and we bought it. Now we have 22 acres. All of it zoned A1. On this property was a piece of land suitable for a hayfield. My husband and our son planted TIF 24 and started their own hayfield. Our house is on top of a hill of the original 5 acres that we bought, so it was built toward the back of the property, not too far from the property line. So since we have the hayfield, we also have an equipment shed near the line. We have 2 tractors plus a garden tractor for a rather large garden near the line. We have mowers, hay rakes, hay balers, and hay trailers. We have pasture fences and some farm animals with a small shed, all in the same view of the new houses that are planned to be built. It is my opinion that the 2 or 3 houses that are near the north line, looking at our A1 equipment, will not be easy to sell due to the conflict of subdivision lifestyle and our agricultural interest in that of our neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're, on the Highway 29 property, or the, 106 property, so is there anybody that would like to speak on that particular item?
Good evening, Gary Armour, 6314 East Commerce Road, just right down the road, literally half mile. Most of y'all know me, but lifelong Madison County resident, but this particular same piece of property wasn't too long ago I was standing before you saying that we didn't need chicken houses. And it's apparent since even that meeting how Athens is actually coming north. So there's a couple concerns that I have. Now, granted, I'd rather see a subdivision than I would the chicken houses, but then again, I'm not against chicken houses because my father and we farm. But then again, that instance before was more or less somebody wanting to take the land and sell it. As a case of rezoners, they could put a bunch of chicken houses in there. Where I'm totally not opposed to an individual landowner or farmer wanting to build a chicken house, even on that parcel of property. I wasn't and still would not be opposed to that. Now, when it comes to this current use subdivision, I can't help but think that I don't want to see the county jump the gun and go grab up the first opportunity that comes because everybody thinks, oh, okay, rooftops mean tax revenue. A certain size roof doesn't justify the actual needs and the demands when it comes to school taxes and et cetera that it actually creates, first. Secondly, on this particular parcel, which I didn't even know it was for sale, I made the mention that night that I wished I'd known that it was because the gentleman had never contacted my father and I, because across the road from my house, Mr. Gus Jenkins owned this parcel, and I've been there since 1988 myself, but we bought the other 75 acres across the road from my house because, again, somebody's going to build a chicken house. So sometimes, like you say, it's like Miss Smith said, sometimes it's wonderful to love where you live, but then again, it becomes unwonderful because of things beyond your control. So every opportunity, my father and I, whether it be in Athens in my business or here in that house that I live in, I own the two, in fact, I own the two houses across the road, Larry Moore and the brick house, and the house up there where the gun store used to be. I didn't buy them as investments as much as I did to protect my neighborhood or the integrity of it. And it comes to mind buying a house on the corner, which there used to be a run-down house, et cetera. I cleaned a lot up, and the day I bought it, a woman called me and said, hey, just out of curiosity, you know who owns that? And I said, well, why do you ask? And coincidentally, she said her mentality was she wanted to put that house and put 2 more trailers. Well, at the time, we didn't have zoning. So, God bless, I was able to tell her, ma'am, actually, I bought it and closed on it today, or that given day. But that being said, a couple concerns. So I'm about trying to save that neighborhood, and I love the farm, and I do think that you can't stop progress, but you can control the quality of progress you got. Now, using it as another example, on the Nowhere Road, my mom and dad, my dad still lives, as soon as you come to the county, well, that subdivision was thrown up, and I'm not, you know, racist or et cetera, but that neighborhood has become a disaster, as in crime and different issues related to cross. I used to deer hunt in that trees, but certain things, if homes aren't built to certain criteria when it comes to footprint, floor quality, exterior material, brick, or et cetera, then in essence, it's not going to be what we want long term. And I don't want to see the county jump and go get the first opportunity that comes up. If it's permitted in 39, what I'm asking is if it's 39 or 38 lots, then don't just give it because it's allowed. I'd say, if you had my opinion, I'll use an example, come off of 72 on Spratton Mill Road, the first subdivision on the left. It's a nice subdivision. I've got a friend that lives in it. Average homes around 2,400 square foot. Brick, some hardy plank, et cetera. Those houses, and I pay taxes a lot of different properties, it carries itself. So if people have homes, et cetera, then it will take care of itself, school tax. The other thing on this particular property is I don't want to see an individual entrance, which coincidentally the subdivision that I'm referencing has 2 entrances. And in Clark County, you can't get a subdivision with 1 entrance. Even if it's off the same road, you have to have 2 for safety when it comes to emergency vehicles, ambulances, et cetera. Now, coincidentally, there's going to be a fire hall built right across the road, and that's going to help us all. But I'm saying, if nothing else, if this is permitted, and it's within your right, if I'm not mistaken, is have the main entrance off of 106 and the secondary entrance off of East Commerce Road. Why shouldn't? If that property abuts, because if I was gonna develop it, I'd go in there like Miss Smith, and I'd divide it up in 5-acre lots. And I'd put, 2,500 foot covenant, square footage, half brick or brick. Now you've got a nice subdivision, something we can be proud of. And if you have streets, you need to have curb and gutters on the street to allow for storm drainage. And so I'm saying, don't just, because in essence, you're gonna hand tie that area, you're gonna, that's some of the, and I hear it on future land use, that everybody talks about, well, we've gotta be, whatever we do, we need to do it right. Don't just grab the first thing that comes along and say, yeah, let them do it because it is permitted. Do something that we can all be proud of. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Any other papers on Highway 106?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to respond. It bothers me greatly that people are disparaging a subdivision before it's even been built, and comparing it to poorly built subdivisions in the county. That's not what rezoning is about. That's what subdivision approval is about. It's over 2,100 feet from the proposed road onto the Commerce Road to the Highway 106 intersection. In August of 2016, as Mr. Armour referred to, this board denied an application to rezone the property from A2 to A1. It's not suitable for agricultural use. A2 requires 5-acre lots. You can't develop 69 acres with 5-acre lots and 2,500 square foot houses in this part of Madison County. Those houses aren't going to sell. Rush Creek is the only thing comparable to that. Well, is the main thing comparable to that. There are some other subdivisions close to that. They're all in the southern part of the county, in a higher density, higher population area, with better roads and better infrastructure, and more people. As I mentioned before, generalized fear about crime, property values going down, traffic issues aren't grounds to deny a rezone. If the property can't be developed as A1 for agricultural use, because the county's already turned that down, it can't be developed as R1 in order to get the smaller lot sizes required to afford to put in that much roadway. You're taking this property away from my clients because they won't be able to do anything with it. You can't take a piece of property this size and farm it in this day and age unless it's already a farm, and most of this is timber. So if you don't want poultry houses, what's the alternative? It's going to be residential development. Commissioner Allen, at the meeting, and the meetings, people may not realize this, but your meetings, at least the recent ones, last few years, they're on your website. So people can watch what they've missed and hear what was said and see what the presentations were. Commissioner Allen pointed out that this would be appropriate for this type of subdivision in this area. You've already got 1,600 square foot stick-built house requirements, 1,800 if it's 2 stories. 2,100 feet from Highway 106. There's going to be traffic coming down East Commerce Road with or without the subdivision. Some people are going to be going north, some people are going to be going south. And the 106 intersection probably should be fixed, but that's a DOT issue on how that road comes into Highway 106. It shouldn't be used as a reason to deny a rezone so that my clients or anyone who owns this property is able to have an affordable economic use of their property. So, especially in light of the zoning administrator's analysis that this property is suitable for what it's proposed for, the number of small R3 lots right across Highway 106 from this property, and the distance from the proposed access on the East Commerce Road and Highway 106, this would be appropriate. And we would ask you to approve this rezone. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to rebut what he just said in regard to the better roads. I mean, if the subdivisions in question are better roads, then there's your reason not to put too many houses on a not so better road, which this is not a better road. And it needs to have double entrances. I mean, the county, and again, that can be a date for a discussion for another day, but why not have two entrances, one off each road, if the subdivision's put in.
And that point was made, we heard it, I appreciate it, typically, our protocol here is just to, you know.
I just want to make sure that an attorney is not the only one that can come up and have a rebuttal.
Right. He's actually representing three, individual,
I'm representing my father here as well. He just couldn't be here.
Yeah, I'm talking about three separate rezones, is what I'm saying, you know, that are being discussed tonight, so. We're still, on 106, actually, I think that'll, conclude with Victor's comments. Is there anybody else that wants to speak on any other item on the agenda? Chip?
I want to steal this.
Okay, go ahead, Chip.
My name is Chip Chandler from Carlton. I'm sorry I missed, I was out of state when y'all were having your comprehensive plan update meetings, but I had a question for you, and then I have just a couple comments. And one is, what is the reason behind going to 1.5 acres? Anybody? We're moving it, we're changing it, right, going up in acreage.
It was changed and was voted upon to go to 1.5, and I think it was, the basis for it was the aesthetics, was the appeal of a larger lot versus a smaller lot, and potentially the higher property value there too.
Let me try to be real brief. This is going to sound like I am standing in front of you as a developer. Hey, Victor. And Victor will probably agree with me, and Stanley will probably agree with me too, but actually I'm speaking for the farmers. And there are a lot of characteristics of sprawl. I can keep this to 1 or 2 minutes, so let me run through these. I just wrote down some.
Sure.
One is an undefined edge between urban and rural, and if you've traveled overseas or anything, I traveled a lot when I was backpacking in my 20s, and when you got in Germany, when you got to the edge of the city, it stopped at a certain road, and then it became an agricultural field. There's still agricultural fields 50 years later because they value agriculture so highly. Another one's strip development, which we're starting to see on, not so much on 29, but on 72. Instead of nodal kind of like this is our development area and then this is ag area, this is subdivisions, it's all kind of just bump, bump, bump. One is leapfrog development, which we're seeing with subdivisions all over the county since it's picked up since the recession. Obviously, spiraling growth from urban center, a dependency on the automobile for short trips. In other words, the subdivisions that, for instance, Lamar's got something coming up about taxes for older people, and a lot of these subdivisions, older people in that have to get, or anybody does, has to get in the car to go buy something. They can't walk to it, and that's an issue. So, but the one that hits all the sites, if you just type in urban sprawl and what causes it, is what we call low-density lots between 1 and 5 acres. And it's kind of backwards to the way we all think. We think of, oh, well, if we make Madison County a minimum lot size, I realize there's changes for water and sewer, but if we make a minimum lot size of 1.5 acres, that's better than 1 acre. But Madison County is 282 square miles. That's 640 acres per square mile, I think. So that's roughly 150,480 acres. And we've only got that many acres. There's never going to be any more. So for the farmers, every time we put a house on 1.5 acres, they've lost a half acre. And if our law or our zoning said 1 acre, or if we dropped it down to a half acre. So as a farmer, I'd prefer to see a greater density if it were possible. Now, given that there are technical problems with septic tanks, you know, on a half acre lot, septic tanks are a real issue, because it's going to get somebody's thing. But that's what I'm concerned about. Thanks.
I appreciate that. And just for clarification on that, the comp plan, what you're referring to is a zoning issue that was voted on, independent, kind of sort of separate from the comp plan.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the point.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Anybody else like to speak, please? Good. Judge Cross.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'd like to just address item number 11 briefly, and just on behalf of the employees, I can only speak to the employees in the probate court, but I would ask that you would consider approving this. Again, speaking for our employees, they have to obtain various certifications, and I think this would be good not only for morale, but for retention, and that's the main thing I'm worried about, especially. So I would just respectfully ask on their behalf to consider approving this item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm speaking as a member of the Library Board, Madison County Board of Trustees, on that exact same issue. We've raised this in the past during the budget adoption process. The employees of the Madison County Library are employed by the regional library system, so they get teachers' retirement system, retirement, and state health care. But their pay is 100% from what the Board of Commissioners puts in the budget for the library each year. Our chairman, Mike Moak, is going to be sending a letter to you, to the board, but because this was on the budget tonight, I wanted to raise that issue again. Consider adopting a policy that when you give a cost of living raise to county employees, you give the same adjustment to the library employees. There are 3 full-time employees and 7 part-time employees, and they work about 122 hours a week, no, 218 hours a week, which is equivalent to almost 5.5 full-time employees. In 2014 or 2015, when we made this request to the county from the library board, I had gotten the pay scale for all county employees, and our library employees, the ones that are not full-time employees, are some of the lowest paid people in the county. So that's not something you can act on tonight. It is related to the cost of living adjustment. I agree with Judge Cross. We're going to lose county employees if we don't give similar pay. You've probably heard in the news how Hall County has lost, I think it was Hall County, lost a lot of their sheriff's deputies because they're being poached by other counties. They train up in Hall, they go elsewhere for more pay. That's happened in Madison County for years. So this cost of living is good, but I think in the future, when you're voting on budgets for the library, about adopting a policy where those employees would be treated the same way. Thank you.
I was gonna wait till the end of the meeting, but you only get 10 minutes, and I'm not gonna take very much longer than that, but I had some questions, and I have to keep, was brought up. One of the things that, I had a real issue with was trying to figure out why we went from a half, 3/4 acre to 1.5 acres. P&Z did not recommend this and did not, back this move to the 1.5 acres. And state regulations, 6/10 of an acre, public water. And I talked with the people that handle our water, our septic systems, and no one was contacted or talked about or talked with on moving that as far as being suitable for septic tanks. A lot has to do with the developer who comes in. I'm speaking to you as a taxpayer, because when I get finished, you'll see why I'm saying what I'm saying. I don't usually work with any people who are actually builders. You don't see my signs. I sell real estate. I've had a real estate license since '96. Most of mine is land. Someone decides to sell a house, friends. I'll start. So, yeah. But state regulations, as we said, and many people talked about not in favor of sprawl. When you take a piece of property that's 3/4 acres and you double it, that's sprawl. And eventually, I mean, and like he said, as far as the size of our county, we got 556 miles and over 100 miles of dirt roads, and y'all know that, well, know that. It's a large county, but the land that normally would have 30 homes now has 20. Lot sizes in adjoining counties, in Jackson County is 3/4 acre, Oconee 3/4 acre, Clark 6/10 of an acre, Barrow 6/10 of an acre, Walden 6/10 of an acre, Banks 1, and Franklin 1. The impact on the digest, with the new rule and the decrease in the value of the digest, and hurt land in our county, because people developing land will pay less for the land, and they'll raise the prices. So my question is, how are we going to have the 120 to 160 price house for the people who are here, who graduate from our middle schools and will live in our county, if they're going to be priced over $200,000? That's a concern. we've taken a beating on our land digest already. In 2010, they changed the rules in the state from 25 acres to 10 acres on conservation. That was a $90 million, I was told, a $90 million reduction in our digest, and someone said it was close to $1 million in tax money because of that decision. People who had 25 acre minimum were doing 15 acres, 10, 12, and it had a major decrease. And you say that's nearly $1 million, but that's a 10-year covenant when you enter into conservation. So that basically is 10 million instead of $1 million, because you have 10 years you're missing the tax that you lost. And now the state has lowered it below 10 acres if it's approved by our assessors board. Two recent sales in Madison County in the last couple of months were 10 to 15 minutes from Athens, Georgia. One was a 46-acre tract on Diamond Hill Colbert Road, and the other was on 106 near our EMS station. The average for the two was $2,818. That's unheard of in land on the Clark County, almost on the Clark County land. So, like I said, when they buy land to develop it and pay a lower price, and you do your digest, it's going to affect your digest. We've already been hit with the conservation. Let's look at the concerns for the elderly. Most of the elderly people don't want huge, big lots of land tracts to put their dwelling on. And they're having to make a choice on small tract of land. And when the prices go low, 200,000, a lot of people who are younger people cannot qualify. I mean, I know qualifying for loans, and I see a lot of folks turn down. So they're going to be looking for loans and can't turn. It's projected our seniors 27% increase in the next 5 years. Most of them enjoy a smaller piece of property to live on. The state rule that the counties cannot keep out older mobile homes. So at one time, 10 years or 12 years old, we did not have homes coming in our county that old because of the reduction of the value. And I'll show you that here in a few minutes too.
In those few minutes, then, we might have to pick that up at the statements and remarks.
I'm almost at the end, I can come back.
Okay, you're just scaring me with that extra few minutes there.
Yeah, well, I mean, but again, I can come back or I can finish it, it won't take but a few seconds.
Okay.
But the state come in and said you can't discriminate on the age of a mobile home. And so any age, as long as the condition and the safety is there, you can move them in.
Correct.
A lot of people now, a lot of these 130 to 70,000 people are going to have to make a choice when they cannot buy the $130,000 to $170,000 house where I live. They can stay at home, they can rent, or they can go the route of the modular, mobile. And I have no problem with that. When I got married young, out of college, I lived in a mobile home, single wide, for 5 years, so I'm not knocking, I'm just looking at what's on our tax books. I did a little study. Property A had 29 homes. The total value, not average cost of them, total value of the 29 homes on our tax book was $49,251 total for all the houses. That's a tax bill under $1,000. The average price on each home value was $1,698. Lowest was $599. Highest was $9,544. And 26 out of the 29 homes were valued at under $2,000. Property B had 39 homes. The land value was $71,155 and $74,000 for the homes, $74,529. And the total tax on that, 39 homes, was $16,800. So I think we need to at least watch our land values and our home prices when we look at this acre and a half and 3/4 acre and what happens there. A guy from Oconee County came in and gave a long presentation. He's done it when I was on the board. 10 years ago, he come and spoke. He's from Oconee County. He holds a degree in agricultural economics, advising us on how we grow and how we pay for our schools. I'll just leave it with this. Houses between 20,000 to 100,000, 139 sold in Madison County. 4 sold in Oconee. Houses 300, 400,000, 11 in Madison County, 210 in Oconee. I think we need to make our decisions based on what we see and where we live. I've been here 64 years, and I think we need to, at least, I know the decisions haven't been made to change it, but I think we need to start looking at our taxes, our tax digest, what it's doing, our land values, and respect the people who come in and develop and do a good job, and if they don't, and you get bit, maybe make a different opinion about the thing. Nice developers, nice houses will encourage and we move forward. But the thing that bothers me is where is the person between 120 and 170,000 going to live in our county? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan. All right. Here, anybody else? We got some old business and new business to get to here, so anybody else want to speak on any item? There's still a shot at the very end. I know y'all knows there. Okay, folks, we're gonna go ahead and conclude that for us, and then we'll get into the business part of our meeting here. First item on our agenda is to consider a SPOS purchase for Collins Volunteer Fire Department, which will exceed the 60% quota. Okay, got Jackson coming.
You want me to re-spoke what I spoke at the last one, John, or?
I don't, if anybody here on the board here, if you need the information or you don't understand what the request is or whatever, feel free to.
I just don't want to be repetitive, I know.
Right, no, I'm satisfied with it, but I'm not going to probably, you might not have been at the meeting when Jackson spoke, so if there's anything that.
Sum it up, we had a lot of trust expenditures last year. I'm asking for the increase, and we're going to have to take some of our personal fire department funds to accomplish the rest of the turnout gear that we need.
And just to make sure everybody is clear, that the board had established a threshold of about 60% for all the money that's projected to be collected through SWAT. 60%, as I understand it, was agreed upon because it is an unknown number. We have no way of knowing what the actual or the total collected will be. So to ensure that a fire station, a fire department that has not drawn on their SPOS, to ensure that there is some there for them, that 60% threshold is set, hopefully ensuring that they're going to get an equitable split of the SPOS collected. So the 60% it's an arbitrary, but it's kind of a calculated arbitrary number. So what Jackson is asking for, those considerations for Collins Fire Department to exceed the 60%. I don't have the total, but the total of this purchase would take you over that 60%. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be $4,775 increase to go from 60 to 65%. Which would put us at $49,436, would be 65% of the SPOS. That's with the new projected estimates that Ms. Ron has.
Right. So as long as everybody knows what the item that you're considering is. So anybody have any questions for Jackson?
These are replacement.
Turnout gear is mandatory. Every 10 years we have to replace gear.
What kind of situation would this put us in if the other 10 fire departments come in and ask for the same?
There are two things to consider. First of all, if every one of them, if every department receive that, there's a point when this collection period started 3.5 years ago that none of the money had been collected, but that 60% was still made available, or at some point. So you're, in essence, taking an advance on the county to be repaid by SPOS. So if every one of the departments came in and you've got probably in your 60%, you haven't been collecting long enough to pay that yet. So the county is actually holding the tab. They're holding the bill for that. So there runs to be the arrangement for the 60%. The other the other issue with that is, there is a possibility, and we saw our economy fade a little bit there for a while, but your collection wasn't as great. As such, there was this notion that, if some of the departments exceeded that, you can have a department out there that has not collected, has not drawn upon their portion, that at the end of the collection period, they may not have that 60%, may not have 50%. So, in essence, it would cost that other department at that point their portion of it. So, again, I wasn't part of the body that established that, but there is merit in there. Whatever that number is, there is merit. And while I'm 100% in support of our volunteer fire service and everything, you still have to keep, as we're keeping an eye on that total there, though, so.
Mr. Chairman, if we got him to the threshold of 60%, how long would he have to wait in order to buy the rest of the gear?
Well, understand that projection doesn't change. I mean, so at 6 months ago was the halfway collection point for SLOSS on our current referendum. So that 60% is that 60%. And here in maybe 6 more months, we'll look at it and say, well, we're at the 2/3 collected. What is our projection at that point? We may adjust it, and that's the adjustment Jackson was talking about is, we did make an adjustment. It didn't go up, though. It actually went down.
It went down to like 74,435.
Right.
When it was projected roughly by 80,000.
So here in 6 months, if the economy dictates that the projected amount to be collected is declining even more, his 60% becomes 65%.
So we're gonna have a roll bank.
Yeah. So, and that's not, I'm not blaming, I'm just saying the math, and that's for any department. That is for any department that would do that. There's no argument. The question here is not, is it necessary? That's not the issue. It's just how do you pay for it? And whether or not you hold the decision here on this, what you're voting on is whether or not to support Collins exceeding that. But you have to know that there's a potential risk to the collective good of the rest of the fire departments. We may have a boom. This economy may take off, and you may end up with, an excessive amount. And what his current 60% is in 6 months may only constitute 50%, and then yes, you could come back and approach. That is how you work that. But as it stands right now, based on the new projection, 60% is the total that Collins is at would only permit them to purchase a portion of that turnout gear. Correct?
Yeah. Well, 60% is 44,661.
Right.
65% is 49,436.
At 60%, how many pieces of gear, how many people would that
That'll cover 4.
cover? 4? How many do you usually have show up to a fire? I wasn't here on the thing.
Well, I mean, time varies, but I mean, typically, daytime you may have 5 or 6, and nighttime you may have a whole crew of 12 or so.
And just not to push the discussion either way, but the turnout gear is size dependent too, right? So you're not just gonna hand it to somebody, hopefully they're similar size, but, and that's.
You get lucky sometimes, but sometimes.
Exactly, so there's a little bit of, exclusivity as far as the gear itself, So does anybody else have any questions or any, that they'd like to ask?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I think I heard you say last time you did have some money you could draw from, you just didn't want to actually draw it out because you might need it somewhere.
Well, no, I'm still gonna take some of that money to purchase some of the helmets and boots and gloves and other stuff. I'm wanting to take the county 65% plus my individual money to purchase the gear.
Well, I'm all about funding fire halls and all that, but when we was buying patrol cars, ambulances, fire equipment and all that, we had some money on hand. We don't now.
And it is, and I don't want to beat that down, but that's a very important thing to understand is that the county's reserve right now is, we're working to build that back up to the level it needs to be. But until then, we're much like like that SPOS projection. I can't guarantee how much I'm gonna have at the end of the year, and right now, I really am reluctant to spend more than I plan to spend, as this where I'm at. Any other questions for Jackson? Thank you, Jackson. What we'll do now is, we'll entertain a motion at this point. Motion would be to purchase, a SPOS purchase, which would exceed the 60% quota. So the motion would be to approve his request.
Up to 60%.
Up to, he's asking for money that would exceed that, or you can make a motion just to cap it at 60 if that's what you want to. I'm just looking for a motion to address his request to exceed the 60%.
I would make the motion to go to 60%, but we gotta look after everybody.
Second.
So I have a motion to approve a SPOS purchase, independent of your own money. I'm talking about the SPOS purchase that would bring you to 60%, and I have a second. Is there any other discussion on that? None. Okay. That is to you. Commissioner Madison?
Yes.
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 Thank you. All right. And I want Jackson to leave before I mention this. Jackson was just voted in as the vice president.
The first vice president of the association.
First vice president of the Madison County Fire Association. So,
Jackson, please don't take this as no, we appreciate you. We just don't have the wherewithal. Okay. Okay.
and it doesn't mean, in this case, it doesn't mean it can't be reversed. Yeah, I'm just saying right now, so. Okay, the next item, item number 7. This was discussed last meeting. Consider a request of Russell and Terry County to rezone 17, parcel 33, at 5243 Millville Road, from R1 to RR, so that they can have a prison on the property. Now, we've had the public, we met the requirements for a public meeting in our last board meeting. So these 3 items, the next 3 items are rezone applications, and these will be for a vote only tonight. Does everybody understand that? Since we've already had that open meeting and the discussion. And we offered the opportunity to make a statement at the beginning of this too. So we're not leaving anybody out. We want y'all to be aware of the protocol here. The motion, I'm looking for a motion that addresses to approve or deny the rezone of the property that I just mentioned, map 17, parcel 33, 5243 Millville Road. The rezone is from an R1 to RR.
I make a motion to approve with stipulations for 1 year.
Motion to approve.
Conditions, you mean?
Conditions.
With conditions.
Jargon.
For 1 year. Need we spell out those conditions? Or what are those?
Probably limit it to a number of animals.
There is a current, in our RR, there's a current limit on that already.
Okay, what is that?
That is 2.
2.
That's 2. So that's in place already. I don't think you have to make that condition, is what I'm saying. Right.
So what would be the condition for the year?
Yeah, do you want to leave any, or just want to, it's either a motion to approve, like that.
Just approve, motion to approve, I stand corrected.
Okay, yeah. But like I said, those conditions are already, that one is already specified, so you wouldn't have to restate that. So I have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Is there a second? One last shot here. Is there a motion? I have a motion to approve the rezone. Is there a second? Hearing none.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay, so that, the first motion then was, dead basically for lack of a second. So I have a motion now on the table to deny the rezone from R1 to RR. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion on this item here? Certainly, if you want to.
I just wanted to ask a question. In the 300 days or so since it was denied the very first time, Ms. Tankersley, can you tell me about how many days a pig or pigs have been on your property in those 300 days?
Well, we haven't had them gone within 300 days because we didn't have to move them until, July 4th.
Okay. So maybe.
They had 30 days.
Yeah, okay. So since July 4th then?
On and off, there were, depends on, like, if we were going on a show, they might have been on a trailer. As we were loading a trailer, I did have 2 in the barn when you came to visit. One of them was injured. So we haven't had the number there that we've had in the past. But if we had a trailer, then we could have had, 2, 4, 6 on a trailer that were various kids from the county, but they weren't living there. They were just getting a suitcase and going that way. So that's kind of a variable question that I don't want to be dishonest on, so I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. But yes, there were 2 in the barn when you came to visit. They're not there now.
Any other discussion or comments? Okay. Well, I have a motion to deny the rezone from R1 to RR, and I have a second. We'll go ahead and vote. The vote goes to Commissioner Pethel.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Four to one, move to deny the rezone. Okay, the next item is to consider the request of Chris Jones to rezone map 31, parcels 130 and 130-2 on Highway 29 south from A2 to R1 for a major subdivision. I'll entertain a motion to approve the rezone from A2 to R1.
I want to make a motion to approve, but I have conditions on my motion as well. I want to make it, I want to approve, but I want to also say that I want 1,600 square foot, 1-story, 1,800 square foot, 2-story, that's heated space, and a minimum roof pitch of 512.
Just so I'm clear, we've got a motion to approve with the conditions of the 2-story, 1,800.
1,600 heated space, 1-story, 1,800 heated space, 2-story.
Okay. And with the additional condition of a pitch of 512.
Correct.
All right, that's the motion. Is there a second on that motion? Is there a second?
I'm just going to second it for discussion, so we can have some discussion.
Okay, so I have a second on the motion. Any discussion or comment?
I know that the traffic is an issue. I understand that. But I've said before, and I try to stay consistent. This is traffic is a different issue. Us commissioners sitting up here, all 5 of us, are going to have to think real hard about going forward about how we're going to attack traffic. We need to be together. We need to go on a united front to our representatives, the DOT. We need to make a concerted effort to make sure that they're involved in trying to help us get these safety precautions and these lanes and things like that taken care of. We have LMIG money that we've used for striping and things like that. Those are safety. You can use that money for safety concerns. I would hope that we look forward in the future to maybe using some of that money, which is not a, if I'm understanding correctly, it's not a match. That's straight money from the state. That maybe we could use some of that money to fix some of these. I know Mr. Jim and Teresa have talked about plenty in their district that need assistance, that need revamping, re-engineering, whatever you want to call it. I know I have them in mind, but we're going to have to address the traffic. We are going to grow, and we've got to plan for it. We've got to be ready for it. So that's the reason I've you know, this rezone for me is an approve, and then we're going to have to tackle traffic in a totally different way. And maybe a way that we haven't tackled it before. There's going to have to be some discussion, and not one of us up here can do it by themselves. It's never worked that way, but when you get 2 or 3 of us together, maybe even all 5 of us together, these representatives and things like that, that our constituents are their voters too, they have to start listening. These places that are getting more and more people, that we're just going to have to make sure that we address it. And that's just where Lee Allen stands on that issue.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question of Mr. Jones?
Please.
Or questions? Chris? Yes. I see you back there. Okay. Are you, now tell me, are you developing a subdivision yourself?
Me and Martin All is. I wanted to say that, but you know, I'm aged enough in this room anyway, and I am a farmer too. I do have 29 chicken houses and about 300 cows.
Is that in Madison County?
Part of it's Madison, Jackson, Franklin.
Do you live in Madison County?
Yes, sir.
You do?
I live right there about a mile from where that subdivision's going to be right there.
Okay.
Martin Ott's my partner. Y'all trusted to do his school, Jackson MC. Mark's developed Chateau Lawn, the Jordan Club, the Teaching Golf Course. We don't intend to do no junk. We've got to be right in the center.
Well, he's not used to building little junky houses then, is he?
Mark don't do it halfway. He does, unless you think the school is, and the EMC, he's done both of those projects before,
Who will be the builder?
We don't know. We don't know if we'll build it. If we'll set it, you usually need to build. We're building a house right now.
I didn't know if you'd use Madison County people, or?
I don't know. And I know you asked me a direct question, but everybody looks at this right here. Nobody's seeing. Y'all come down to Biscuit Express one morning. See how many van loads of people come in and buy something and go to work at Right Wing.
That's also because they got good biscuits.
Yeah. They do it in areas where they're building chicken houses, anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I sell them new chicken houses too, so, I'm in a farming business.
What do you think the chances are you'd be employing Madison County people there? Just a question. No idea?
The guy that's doing the house right now from Jackson, is building this house for me. It's just paint. I mean, it depends on who they can keep the heart right, and just like the place over on 106, there's proposed $575,000 for free company put in. So it ain't being shoddy, or it ain't gonna be a dirt road.
Right. Well, it can't be, because we got stipulations.
You gotta do it right. You gotta be right.
Conditions. I'm sorry. Mike's was scolding me.
At 106, where he's talking about this 3/4 acre versus acre and a half,
yeah.
the lots are gonna cost $26,000 right now. How many y'all want?
Well,
26.
Are you looking at building starter homes there? I mean, what would you consider?
I think that's all you can sell in the county, because you don't have the income to pay for it. I mean, I'm from Jackson County originally, moved here 3 years ago. Look at what they're selling.
What are they selling?
1,900 homes last year, and all of them are 200,000 it's what sales.
Is what? What price range?
Like 175 to 200 to max here.
Anybody can afford it. And what would you say, Ms. Linda, in our subdivisions, are we building these homes for Madison County people, or do we have people moving in to live in Madison County? What are we? Little both? More one way or the other.
Who knows, 129, if it's gonna have traffic. Who's to say them people ain't gonna come there and turn and not go by the daycare? And not the one day. Who's to say keep up with it? We don't know. Who's to say part of them people driving from from Elton every day through there, or from Rolston, is gonna build there, you just go one way or, I don't know.
And how long do you have to be in Madison County before you're considered a, Madison County resident? My dad came from Jackson County. Is he a Madison County resident? He's been here for 50 years, Dad. Married a Madison County girl, I thought that got you in.
I think I'm Madison County, because I paid $30,000.
So I just.
If you have to ask the question, you're not, trust me.
Yeah, I've been here my whole life, so I guess I'm not a Madison.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to see how much money I'm staying in the county, that was my only option.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we seem to be more concerned about quality of the homes. We're losing perspective on this,
On a rezone.
well, no, we're losing perspective on this, traffic issue. I've had a friend of yours right there, comes home to me.
That's my main concern. There's plenty of places in Madison County for subdivisions, but we're talking about a subdivision and a death trap here. And I can't go along with something like that. When you know it's gonna happen, it's inevitable.
I live on Hardman Hooper, which goes to Ben.
Nice Commerce.
Now, Nice Commerce comes out right there. My road comes out right there. My family's gonna be coming down through there, way more than you guys, way more than a lot of folks in this room. And I understand that. That's why I have made the decision to make sure that I'm at the Capitol. I'll be at the Capitol 6 times in the next 6 weeks. I'll be up there. Okay, I've been almost 18 times in the time I've been in office, but I can't do it by myself. I've got to have people with me. Because they listen to us. Because these are their voters. And we're telling them that their voters need traffic solutions. That's what gets solutions. That's what gets it done. Sitting here talking about it's a death trap and this, that, and the other, that's fine. I'm telling you, growth is coming. And if we don't act properly and we don't do the things we need to do as commissioners at a state level, it'll never change. But that's what I want it to change.
We gotta be proactive, not reactive.
So, but.
That's why we were talking about 72.
Yeah, that's right. We've been talking about this.
And it's now 29. I mean, it's subdivision,
These are, all good thoughts. No, yeah, and is there any other discussion as far as, the motion as it's on the table now is to approve the rezone with the conditions, 1,600 one-story, 1,800 two-story heated square feet, 512 pitch. That's the motion and second. Is there any other discussion on that one? First. All right, we'll vote. Got a motion to approve. The vote goes to Commissioner, did you just, Ishko?
No.
Yes.
No.
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 Got 4-1 opposing the rezone. All right. The next item is to consider request of Mr. Chris Jones again to rezone map 29 parcel 9 on Highway 106 south from A2 to R1 for a major subdivision.
Again, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve with 1,600 square foot heated space for a single story and 1,800 square foot heated space for a 2-story, and a 512 minimum roof pitch.
Okay, I have them, yeah, okay.
The curbs and gutters.
Curb and gutter's actually in our ordinance already.
Okay.
So that should be,
And
that's part of the conditions.
two
exits.
Two.
There's a principal house entrance over there.
Is it feasible? Yeah, I believe it's feasible. I don't know if it's the right idea. Coming out on 1/6,
Can't do that.
we can say, anything can happen, come and say, either way. With 2 entrances.
Well, and remember,
That's not a zoning, that's a plat.
I was about to say, you're still gonna have preliminary and final plats coming through,
So my original motion stands, and somebody second, that'd be fine, if not.
So the motion was to approve with condition 1,600 single-story, 1,800 two-story heated square feet with a 512 pitch. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Now, discussion.
Well, my hang-up is Dr. Jeffrey Dorfman was the agricultural economics professor that Mr. Stanley was talking about. You know, we had that same session here, and $700,000 home will send one child to school. That's a hang-up for me. We're talking about building a subdivision full of starter homes. So, why do we do it?
Because the average income in the county is $43,750.
But they don't have to live in a subdivision.
Well, I spent a lot of money on tax this year, and I ain't had a kid in school, and I don't know when. You pay back, nobody ever pays enough to put their kids in school when they're in school. But if we become all your life to pay what you didn't pay earlier on.
If we become a veteran community, we'll be able to afford to live here.
So said Coleman Whitehead.
What is that?
Coleman Whitehead said that, and he was a wise man.
Said what?
That you always paid, you never paid enough when you were young to educate your kids when you had those kids. Therefore, you had to continue paying them like me and a lot of other things that you're doing today. So don't say it takes a house to, you have to pay enough tax on a house to educate a kid. It ain't gonna happen. Not on a regular house. 700,000 maybe, but not on a regular house.
That's what I
Hadn't
said.
happened, it ain't
That
gonna happen.
was my point.
I think you were
Yeah, you got it.
in violent agreement there. So the motion, and I just want to make sure that y'all agree on this though, and I know we're in the discussion, but the motion is to rezone. And I know there are any number of provisions that can be discussed about an entrance on 106. You'll have to talk with state before you can actually do some of that and make sure that can happen. So I just want to make sure that everybody appreciates that the motion itself is for the rezone application is to approve it with conditions of the square footage of 1,600 and 1,800 single two-story heated space, and then the 512 pitch on the roof. All of the others good, and like I said, it is good conversation and everything. And your vote may reflect how you feel about your comment, but I'm just saying, right now, I just want to make sure we stay kind of focused on what the rezone is.
Mr. Chairman, let me say a word about that. This subdivision on 29 is bad, but I feel like the one coming off on 106 is as bad or worse as far as safety is concerned than the one on 29. Regardless of what the size of the house or whatever, we talk about people's lives here.
Yes, sir.
I had a good friend that almost was killed there. Total lost his pickup truck. Almost killed. And there wasn't any subdivision over there at that time. But there's a little rise that comes into that intersection. It's a terrible place for a subdivision. When there's 78 automobile vehicles coming out of East Commerce Road onto 106. And I disagree with the lot size. I think it ought to be 3/4 acres. Because the county is losing a lot of money, a lot of revenue by not having 3/4 acres. But 3/4 acre lots there would double the amount of vehicles and make it double as unsafe. So I disagree with the subdivision there totally.
I've been talking to some folks about smaller lot size and things like that, mainly septic tank folks, and talking about how much they're having to pump septic tanks and things like that, because drain fields are going away and stuff like that. So, you know, there's so many variables to think about. When you think about people's livelihood and they've been paying a lot of taxes, you know, that's another thing they'll have to, you know, the smaller lot size they'll have to pay for. But I digress. We
need sewage. We do need sewage.
You gotta have
before we densely
populate.
Okay. Any other comment on that?
No, sir.
I could have a lot of comment on it. better not.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No.
So the motion, we'll go ahead and vote here. The motion is to approve with the conditions of 1,600 single story, 1,800 square foot for a two-story unit space, and 5-12 pitch. The vote, this is to approve the request. To approve the request is to Commissioner Allen.
Yes. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I think I recorded a 3-2 in favor of the rezone with those conditions. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I should have jumped in quicker. Did we ever give back on number 8, an approved motion either for approval or denial?
We did.
We did, okay. I'm sorry, I thought we just had 2 disapproved motions. Okay.
Right.
You had a approval of the denial.
We did have an approval of denial. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Right. Okay. We are on to new business, and this is, we're skipping item 10. We'll take that up in the next meeting. Consider a 2% cost of living adjustment for all permanent employees to be effective February 4th, 2018.
So moved.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve a 2% cost of living for all permanent. Any discussion on that?
That's all right, good budget.
I'm sorry?
That was our budget.
It was, yeah. And that was my comment too, Chairman. Any comment or discussion on that?
Was it 3%?
3%. Correct.
But 2% was mainly for this.
Right, well, and I think each of you got a copy.
I just want to make sure
Right.
people know what we're doing.
Yeah, well, there should have been a copy, I think, in everyone's packet that talks, that was the actual language from, there you go. Let's see, the Governor's Office Planning and Budget calculates the average cost of living increases. State employees received a 2% merit increase for high-performing employees, which translates into a 2% COLA for county elected officials. And what you're doing is actually approving that for all permanent employees in the county.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know what we were doing.
Okay. And that money was budgeted for, it's more than that actually, so. This motion was for a 2%, so. Any other discussion on that? Vote is to Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
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 Can I ask a question? Regarding number 8, the motion was to approve. And
With the conditions.
With conditions, and then they voted, 4 to 1 to.
4 to 1 to deny.
To deny. Is that
Correct. That is correct. I have a no, yes, no, 4 to 1. Again, the motion was to approve with those conditions. I see what your question is now.
Yeah, right.
So we actually voted to deny that motion.
You still haven't approved a motion.
Yeah, so that was to deny the ones with the conditions.
Well, they make a motion to deny straight up.
Right.
If that was the intent of the board, was to deny the subdivision, then that's the motion that needs to be made, and I do stand corrected. We do need to go back and close that one though. So again, folks, we're actually, we have an open item still, then, that's what it amounts to. And that is to consider the request to rezone that parcel that we were talking about, Highway 29 South and 82 to R1. That's what you need to decide now.
Motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny.
Second.
And a second. Now, if that's what you're going to be voting on, is a motion to deny the rezone. And for that, we're just going to pick up with Commissioner Bettis.
Yes.
This is a motion to deny
Yes,
subdivision.
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
4 to 1.
That is just another.
It is, it's,
Right.
but you're right though, that, all we did is really negate, a lesser, if you will, a more restrictive motion. All right, so we just approved the 2% social limit. Last item on our business is to consider approving the resolution to adopt the 2018 comprehensive plan update. And you should have a copy of that resolution.
So moved, Chairman.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution to adopt the 2018 comprehensive plan. Any discussion on that item? Okay, motion to approve. The vote will go to Commissioner Purple.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
All right, we're on to roads updates. Anybody have anything on the roads?
Chairman, I've got one thing, or two things actually. Thank you from the people on Broward Trail and Wolf Creek. And number two is, again, it's Chandler Road. I'm trying to get Alan over to the potholes. I know the weather and things like that, it's been a little rough on those guys, but again, it's Chandler Road. It's got eaten up potholes.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, any urgent matters? Okay, statements and remarks from citizens. Again, folks, an opportunity to say anything about, almost anything about any item or any non-item. Okay, Gary.
Yes, I've got a question. When it comes to rezoning signs, is there a standard? And the reason I want to bring that up is I called Mr. Allen because I didn't even know that this had gone full plans review. Because I leave every morning at 5:30. I come home sometimes 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I never saw, the only reason I saw the sign about this issue, period, because nobody called me, is because I go to Iowa on Sunday and I had to go to Athens about property. So I saw the property that was on 106. And if this is the road, the sign's like this. On East Commerce Road, where this entrance is going to be, it's nailed up against a tree in the middle of a wood area. Until I asked Mr. Lee, I've never even seen the sign, then I noticed it. And then I go down that road 4 times a day. I mean, I don't know.
I defer to planning and zoning, but just so I'm clear too, I mean, you don't have any property adjacent or abutting that road, do you?
No.
Okay, so I know that if you had, obviously you would have been notified individually, but signage,
It is, if you don't mind, it is, and we've talked about it, it is kind of small. I've talked to Ms. Linda already about it. It is kind of small, the writing's small, and I was just thinking maybe we could do something, maybe get a little bigger sign if there was some way, because he's not the first one to, and I've talked to Ms. Linda about it before, and we want to do something, because people need to be.
That is the size
That's
of the
the size
sign
of the
right
sign
there. That's pinned on, if you turn it around, it's a rezone sign on the back of it.
You know, it is small, especially when you're driving at 45 miles an hour.
60 mile an hour, that's
You know, 60 on one,
That's
65 and 45. You don't speed.
It's stuck back in the woods, you can't, it's nailed up against a tree.
Yes, sir.
It's not on the board where you can see it. I mean, and believe me, as passionate as I am about my county and my neighborhood,
Yes, sir.
you know, I bought land if I'd have known this was gonna happen, if I'd have known it was for sale. Okay, I mentioned that when the chicken houses, but that's absurd when it's stuck up against a tree, protruded back in, and I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying there needs to be some kind of, something in the future. In fact, I think
We'd love for that to be our problem every time we do.
I mean, I'm just gonna make a suggestion, if the road's running here, the sign needs to be here, where you can read it in both directions. It doesn't need to be a flat pass-by. It ought to be where you can see it coming and going. Okay.
We'll talk about that here. I don't know what, I certainly will work with them, if there's something that needs to be changed on that. Anybody else? Anybody else like to make any comment on anything? What's wrong?
I'd like to make one comment.
Sure.
You know, I want to address you guys on the 106 traffic. Like Lee said, we've lived over there for 45 years now. And I've been to these meetings and I've heard the traffic. I've been going in and out of that stop sign and over across 106 to the left to the right. And yes, the traffic is horrendous. Mr. Pepper, you've been on the board a long time, Mr. Eastco. Nobody has ever addressed the speed limit in that section of Nice. There's a sign on one side says Nice, on the other side says Nice to Jackson EMC. Nobody's ever addressed the speed limit. Nobody's addressed any other kind of flashing lights at that
at that intersection. And my comment to you guys, if you guys would take a look and see if you can get with the state, at least within a mile limit of that intersection, reduce the speed limit to 45. You know, to give your sheriff's department a ability to actually sit there and monitor traffic, or either put some kind of light, flashing lights there to tell people. But, you know, it's just gonna get worse. In 40 years, the traffic is it's just gotten to be horrendous, and I understand that, but there's gotta be a solution to that traffic. So the more you sit here and the more you look at these things, and nothing's been done at that intersection, because I know there's been a lot of rezones in that area has been turned down because of the traffic. And I'm not saying they're good rezones or bad rezones. I'm just saying the issue is the traffic. So if you guys would actually address the traffic, maybe there could be something different brought up when you do a rezone, or if you're really concerned about that intersection.
There was 6 wrecks there last year.
How many?
6. They sent for that, at least 6 there last year, for your information. It's time for a roundabout at water fountain to me.
It's time for something.
Could I say something? I live right at that intersection. I agree with the gentleman right there. There's a cross right beside my property line where some young girl was killed. You're talking about a roundabout. I disagree with a roundabout. We need a red light. Number one, you go up to Highway 11, go 129, turn left on Highway 11, go down about 2 miles for, I think it's 124 dead ends that goes across there. They got a roundabout there. We have probably between 150 or more tractor trailer trucks a day that goes up 106. Yes. Don't shake your head. Yes, I live there. I sit on my front porch and read. But we got, I say, over 150 tractor trailer trucks go through there. We need a red light there.
I'll go for that.
I would agree with them. We need to slow down some traffic and everything like that. My wife and I do go out every Sunday afternoon to pick up trash on that beautiful little road everybody brags about, where everybody throws their trash out. And believe me, every other week, out there where the stop sign is, we pick up car parts every other week. We need a red light there.
Let me get your name.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Stu Maxwell. I live 6699 Highway 106. We do need a red light.
Okay. Does anybody else like to say anything?
You're gonna get tired of me coming to the podium.
Yeah, you're gonna get tired of me too.
Actually, I'm probably not gonna get tired of either one of you, because we list comments and everything, but I also can limit your time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be brief, John. Whatever y'all agree to, et cetera, whatever you pass, I'm not. Some people know the cross in the field is a blessing to everybody. That's my blessing. I'm just the vehicle that God used to put it up, if you know what I'm talking about, in the fields beside my house. I paid the power bill. I'm not ever asking anybody for a dime. Worst case, it cost me more to put it back up when my dad caught it with his tractor than it did to put it up originally. First, but on a side note, it's disheartening when I say, okay, I accept things as they are, and you're a government authority. But it's trying to be a blessing to the community, just using that example, and then I'm so disheartened. I'm so disheartened, and I don't know how you should take this, but I know how I take it, personally to my heart. And when I step out in the hall, and this gentleman, who I don't know, from a man on the moon, I've never seen him in my entire life, makes a comment to me. That being said, on what somebody that just is gonna redo this subdivision made a comment about, and I give him the floor. I can't believe it.
I got the police officer outside. He just made a terrorist threat about shooting anybody from 217 Watson Drive, and myself included. Cody Croft, the developer that there was his son. As they walked out stinging mad, and he called everybody in here bloody idiots for not getting the development. And he said,
I'll commend you. I think you turned it over to the right authority.
Okay, well, I got the authority here, and I'm gonna make a report on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. it's not our intent that it ever rises to that level. Is there anybody else got anything that they want to present?
Yeah, yourself.
No, sir. Folks, we're about to adjourn. I appreciate everybody's interest and attendance. I have a motion to adjourn.
Post adjourned.
I have a motion. Have a second. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
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 Thank you all.